All right, it is Monday night. It is time to sip good beers. It is time to give good cheers. It is time to look at the face that is Mike Giardi on a Monday. Another victory Monday for the Patriots. This was a big one, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. A little touch and go there for a minute. Weren't really quite sure. It was the 73-yard drive that made it 24-21. I'm like, if they get the ball back again, he's taking it right back down the field. You could just kind of feel the whole energy swing in that moment. And look, the Ravens aren't what they were, but to do that on a Sunday night, down 11 after what happened last week, and a lot of the guys talked about the bad taste that the Buffalo game left. Yeah, chef's kiss. Good job.
Pretty good. Some would describe the Patriots as inexhaustible. I would describe the CLNS Media Network, which presents this Pat's Interference podcast, as inexhaustible, irrepressible, and at times, when you and I are together, infantile. Speaking of infantile, because, look, we are going to talk a lot about the Patriots and what that game meant, what it meant for Drake Maye, what it meant for this team that is now 12-3, where I have people tweeting at me wondering if Mike Vrabel is a good coach, and this totally hinged in this primetime game. And lo and behold, he wins his 12th game in 15 weeks. I think we can put that to bed. You know who else had a good week? Will you permit a very self-involved, borderline obnoxious opening here?
Shy. What the hell? Why not?
Okay, the answer is me. All right. Last Wednesday, I told you this game would hinge on Drake Maye in a way that said the Patriots need him more than ever. 24-13, 12 minutes to go. Here's the ball, kid. Here's the game. Here's a playoff berth. What can you do with it? Boom, boom, boom. Marches down, playoff berth. Also told you on Friday and back in October, man coverage, big deal. Ask Josh McDaniels about it on Thursday. Oh, well, there are a lot of coverages that we see. And, we got to do better against them. Man, we can call some man beaters, but you know what? We'll just kind of see. No. The receivers talked all week about man coverage and told us about this. And Stefon Diggs was, again, the antidote for that. 3 catches, 3 first downs, including the 4th down, including a big catch in the first half. Thumbs up for your boy. The last one is, I also wrote about their luck with turnovers, which I think has been glossed over a little bit as we go, what's wrong with the run defense? And we're all right to go, what the hell is going on up front? But the bigger point is bad defenses get by. Ask the Chicago Bears. When you turn the ball over more because it papers over your problems with giving up yards and giving up long drives, et cetera, et cetera. If you get takeaways, you don't have to be on the field. The Patriots did this to end the game. They did it to end the Ravens' second drive, which bought them more time to hang around. If they keep getting 2 turnovers a game, okay, which would be high, but not unattainable, that restores the ceiling that I think a lot of us watching the smaller stuff and the underlying metrics, they have it. You turn the ball over the way that they did, and it's unpredictable week to week. Everything is not just on the table, but in the places that you want. So good week for me, good week for them. But I think we all learned something.
I'll also, if we're patting ourselves on the back, good week for me, because I wrote the Patriots needed to ask Stefon Diggs to do more, and they did. Second most snaps of the season for him, I believe. You mentioned 2 explosives, number of big catches and big moments, being able to settle in against the zone, which, the comfort there between he and Drake is, as we've talked about all year long, is off the charts. He knows that guy's going to get open against zone, but then to get it against the man as well was critical. So yeah, if we're just handing them out, there we go. We did it.
This time of year, I get gifts for everybody else. How about I give a gift to myself there? That's what that was. Now, to be fair, because I know most people tuning into this, save for the small percentage that, hate listen or watch or whatever it might be, tune in because you and I are right more often than we're wrong. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't deserve to have jobs. I did pick the Ravens. I'm going to be totally honest and own that, because my thinking, as I detailed with JP Acosta, who was an outstanding guest last week, made the all-guest team for the Pass Interference podcast, which does not exist, but by next year, pending how the guests go, was that the Ravens would be able to control this game from more of a success rate standpoint, down to down, steady Eddie. They're going to own the line of scrimmage. Well, the Patriots would have to rely on kind of a boom or bust game plan. Let me tell you, there was a lot of boom around a couple of busts. A 14% explosive play rate, which is off the charts, insane. That's basically 1 out of every 7 plays that they had offensively went for 12 yards or more on the ground or 20 yards or more through the air. So the Patriots did it. They did it in a way we've not seen. Good for them. Big win. We've already taken too long to talk about Drake.
Yeah. I'm going to say something that's going to make people crazy. I know some people don't even like to hear his name in the same breath as Tom Brady. Reluctantly, I'll sprinkle it in here or there. But I was thinking as that fourth quarter progressed and the way he was dialed in and the decisions that he was making and the accuracy of the football on all but one throw. There was the one throw, the slant to Kyle Williams that Wiggins jumped and it could have been trouble. It reminded me of the Super Bowl against the Seahawks when Tom Brady put together. Look, I'm just telling you, that's the vibe I got. It was like it was such control and command. And look, Seattle was a better team. That was like an all-time team. This Ravens team is not an all-time team, but it was just something about the way he handled himself in those moments that I thought was reminiscent. They're different players, different styles, but reminiscent about the control and just he's got this. I'm not like if you give him the ball, he is going to take care of this. And he did. So I said it and you rolled your eyes and you can put that on for save this for later, or you can hit me with it now. I don't care. I put it out there because I'm honest with the people. I love the people, most of you at least. And so I share some of the strange things that happens in my head. And that was one of them.
I'm gonna give you a gift now. Okay. I gave myself one. It's time for you. Bailey, do not cut that and splash it over social media. I would like to spare my friend, our friend, the co-host of the show, Mike Giardi, from a ruined Christmas from that, which I will revisit in a good time to remind the folks we have a segment called Okay, Let Me Have It, of which we end the show before Dad Pod. I will say
don't be a coward. That's all I'm saying. You're all a bunch of cowards. That shit was real. It was spectacular. Freaking enjoy it. Period. Thank you, Scott McCormick, chipping in on the chat. He says, "Hey, don't be afraid. You're right. I'm not afraid. That's why I told you." And it was in my head. I thought about writing it, and I was like, I'm tired. I'm not going to put this into. I'm going to think about it more. When I rewatched the game today, I'm like, that shit was legit. I'm swearing. See, you even got me swearing. That's how I feel about it. That's how passionate I am about what I saw in the fourth quarter.
You know who else isn't afraid? People who play with nail guns. Like that doesn't mean anything. What does mean something though is I'll try to help move this along though. You're down 11. You're on the road. This is a big December game. You have a defense pressuring you, meaning all of this pertains to Drake Maye 40% of the time. And his response is to go 12 of 14 for 139 yards, a touchdown, plus 14 rushing yards, including the RPO that ended the game. Mm-hmm. And you could go with the stats to encapsulate that drive, which we're going to break down, and what it means, which to me was he made a leap. He made a leap with this first fourth quarter comeback, one in the way that Josh Allen beat him the week before, that did leave that sour taste, but also one in a way that so long as Patriots quarterbacks are going to play in the shadow of that statue that is now outside of the stadium, all of them will be measured against that guy. When it comes down to, okay, not statistically how good were you, but how good were you in those moments? Clutch time. Okay. He was freaking outstanding. And one of those incompletions, by the way, was the worst non-call I have seen in recent memory, to the point where our friend Alex Barth, whose tweets like come up on my For You now more than most people, which tells you I like them. I like Alex. I was wondering and worrying about him. Something about like investigate these people, meaning the refs and the calls on the phone. But here's the other way to measure it. I gave you the stats. We talked about the moments. Everyone knows this was his first fourth quarter comeback by now. They might not have heard this. Quote, "It was amazing, man. It was amazing. All we have to do is do our job and give Drake the time that he needs to make the play, and he's going to execute. He's proven to us time and time again this season, we're going to ride with 10 no matter what." That was Vidarian Lowe, who obviously owes a lot to Drake Maye as it pertains to last night, but also shows you with that quote that this is about more than numbers. It's even about more than winning. In the same way it was about more than numbers and winning with Brady. There was a belief this is going to happen. So it's great to have all that belief before it actually does happen. But when you have a win like this and Maye goes down and clinches that win and clinches a playoff berth, that says he's here. Okay? He's done it. On to the next. And the next now is the playoffs, which thanks to him, they will be playing in a few weeks.
Yeah, and we've talked about this over the course of the season and how he's progressed and the levels to which he's progressed. Um, I jokingly refer to it as the Kool-Aid man just smashing through the wall. For those of you old enough to remember those commercials, like he didn't just take the second year leap. He smashed everything. And it's the point that Vidarian has made is one that I think a lot of guys have brought up, and they needed that final piece of the puzzle, at least the final piece of the regular season puzzle, which is the 300-yard passing game in the fourth quarter comeback. And that is like, we knew he could do it, but you just got to go do it. We got to see it happen at least once for you to believe it. But they've all been looking at him like he's special and he gives us a chance every single week. And I mean, look, they're not this football. It's hard to separate the quarterback from the team, but like they're not that talented without someone playing at this level to drag them to 12-3. So there's a lot of things that have been wonderful about this season, the coaching, different players stepping up at different times. It certainly happened in the game on Sunday night, but like he's the driver of this thing in terms of what he does on the field between the lines. Like there's very few people like him in the league.
He's the driver in the engine in the same way that you talk about all the best quarterbacks, like healthy Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, which we saw they got burned and they experienced and everybody knows. I'm going to give you one more quote, and then I want to get to what it means for like the whole team, and we'll get into what people missed on offense, defense, et cetera, et cetera. This was from Mike Vrabel, and it's going to sound like a standard quote, but I want it to kind of sit with people for what it really means, because it hits on something you just said. This is what Mike Vrabel said to our guy Mike Reese, who asked, like, what'd you see from Drake tonight? Which is to say, like, scale of 9 to 10, how good was this?
How awesome was he?
Yeah. Here was a quote. Just gritty. He got hit. They pressured. He just kept getting up and battling. He didn't flinch. I think it was important for all of us to have that game, the entire team. When I profiled Will Campbell earlier this year, I talked with a personal trainer of his when Will was a teenager. This is before he got to LSU. His name was Rodrell Stewart. And Rodrell actually goes by Burger. So you know I'm profiling someone from Louisiana when I speak to someone who goes by, instead of Rodrell, Burger. But what he said to me was, what separates Will is he had to do a lot of work in the fields, farming. Like that kind of hands in the dirt work gives you a type of grit that you cannot get unless you do that type of manual labor. Okay, I can work hard, stay up till 3:30, do podcasts, do writing. That's a very, very different type of feeling and grit than it would be to farm at 3:30 in the morning. My point is that the only way is through for this team, through hard times into the playoffs. And they managed both of those last night. And this isn't to make the Ravens out to be some world beater, but that quote of Vrabel, who knows better than anybody that we've been around or listened to, that this game was important for them, not just that they won, but how they won. That grit is something they did not have before this game as a team. And I think Maye as a player, a 23-year-old who's only lived so much life and played so much football as good as he is, hadn't experienced before. Now he has, and they're all better for it.
Yeah, it's another box to check off. We talk about the boxes that he's checking off individually that now we can say, oh, he did that. We don't have to, like we've seen him do that, but it's the same thing for this team. And I think it was brought up repeatedly in the post-game conversation about the taste that the game against the Bills left in their mouth. And to be able to be in that similar situation where it's chips are down, like you've got to deliver, or this is the second loss in a row. And then all the conversation about the soft schedule and you haven't beat anybody real, like amplify that times 1,000. They're going on every talk show calling you frauds. They've hinted at it. Some people have said it, but now they're going to be, we have evidence. You played one good team, one relatively good team, and you lost both of them. Yeah, forget you. We're not thinking about you anymore. I'll reveal something that is in musings for tomorrow. Ooh. I got a text about 20 minutes after the game from an assistant coach in the league. I've been coaching for at least 20 plus years. I didn't look up the exact number. And has a couple rings in a safety deposit box from Super Bowls, saving him for his kids, which I think is pretty cool. And he said, what's the exact quote? The Pats are as good as anyone. And we've sort of wrestled with this conversation, right? Like, well, how good are they? All right, they're good. But then is it like, are they good because the AFC is down? And I trust this guy. Like, I don't think this person's ever given me bad information ever. And this was just an opinion. It was unsolicited. But I was like, whoa. Like, okay. you're not your team's gonna be in this person's team's in the playoffs. Like they've got their own thing, but he was watching the game and was, dude, they're as good as anybody. And I don't know, that just sort of like just another point of just hammering it home. Like this is happening sooner than it was supposed to. They've exceeded expectations, but they're here now and they're playing at such a level that you're like, why not? Why can't it be done?
So you can disagree with that sentiment, which isn't to say anything of that coach's credentials and someone that I implicitly trust because you do. The thing you can't disagree with or argue is they're 12-3. If you are a 12-3 football team, you are a good at worst football team. And the schedule talk is real. Like by DVOA, this is historically weak. They didn't pick it. That's the formula. That's who they played. That's what it is. I think what that's done is probably protected the defense more than it has Drake Maye, who, again, is in the top 5 for most pressured quarterbacks in the entire league and is second in MVP odds right now and might be first after he plays the Jets and Dolphins. The point is, the Patriots are 12-3. Right. And this is the other – I've got one more quote because we're just like regurgitating everything from last night. And this was from Drake, reciting and repeating what Vrabel had told the team during the week, maybe right after the game, whatever it was. He said, you can buy anything else in life, but we can't buy this time we're in right now. And what a time it is. First of all, the best quote that Drake Maye has ever given, and it wasn't even his quote, but the idea of like what a time it is makes you stop, makes you think, makes you feel what 12-3 means. And let me be clear. I understand the championship bar in Boston. Feel like I am part of the group that tries to uphold that in a way that says, yeah, keep aiming higher. You can do it. If you can, that's all that matters. But where did we just come from? All of us collectively experiencing, watching, covering this 4-13. Before that, 4-13. Before that, Matt Patricia and 8-9. And before that, a team that looked a lot like this one, but did not have the grit nor the quarterback to get through games like this, and instead lost to the Colts, and instead lost to the Bills, and lost its last game at Miami. And the Patriots are going to play Miami in their finale, as the 2021 Patriots did. I'm going to make a bold proclamation. I don't think this team's given that one up. So they've made the playoffs. They've won 12 games. They could win the division Sunday if Buffalo loses and they win. Like, this is all something we've been saying and talking about. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's true. Like, I know that. I feel like I'm the yoga teacher now, like football yoga. Just sit, let my words wash over you, because I don't think we fully appreciate exactly what this means, even if we knew the stakes going into Sunday and realize we're on the other side of that now.
I feel it 100%, and everything that I've been writing for today and for tomorrow and, sort of mapping out my week, I'm in this very reflective state of what this team has done. I'm not kidding. You're like, we're sharing a brain on this and we didn't even talk about it. It's just, they kind of give you the warm fuzzies a little bit. Well, I mean, it's like, I covered 2001. I know a lot of people witnessed it as fans. I covered it. And that team, there was a point where it did sort of turn, and you're kind of looking around like, this is happening. There's things happening here. And I feel a similar way to this. And I don't know that this is going to end up like that one did. I'm just telling you, all I can go by is all my past experiences, and you're getting certain feelings about certain teams. The 2011 Bruins that won the cup, like, I remember covering that team in the regular season as the regular season waned and getting into the playoffs and doing every game and being like, there's something different about these dudes. Like, if anyone's going to push through this whatever, 38 years, 36 years, whatever the streak was without a cup, it was that team. And then they did it. And you're like, okay, like, I know a little something about how this works. And I know a little something about chemistry and how guys are playing and how they respond to each other. And this team responds to their coaches and to each other in a manner that we haven't seen in some time. We didn't see it in 2021. We didn't see it in 2018 when they started the year off 8-0. Like, 19, sorry. Like, we didn't. So, again, whether this is just my feelings, whatever, I've got experience with it. And I just tell you that this team has acted and behaved differently in a good way towards each other. And they've seemingly met a whole bunch of challenges so far. And of course, they'll meet more in January.
So I was going to watch the old cartoon version of The Grinch tonight with my infant daughter whenever she falls asleep between like 1 and 3 a.m. because I have the overnight shift tonight. We're doing radio tomorrow. I might just skip and watch Elf because I feel like I watched the football version of the Grinch in your heart grow 5 sizes talking about this team and the warm fuzzies. Because you still, even doing the show week to week, get the like, oh, too negative. Like not over the top radio negativity, but like a little grouchy, grinchy. That was so sweet and poignant and good.
Well, I consider us like truly like this is a little like we always like to bring back the curtain a little bit. I consider ourselves like keeper's not the right word because that's like way too over the top. But like I don't know, there's a certain standard that you expect them to play, and when you start to play well, it's like I said to you about Drake last week. I expect more because I've seen more. So I'm going to go into a game and say like this is his baseline. Like so anything below that, like that's not a good game by him. And so this team is sort of changing that as the year has gone on. And now, like, hey, you have to overcome this and overcome that. Like, I remember, hey, one of the injuries they can't afford, Will Campbell. Well, I mean, they miss him. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that it's all perfect over there left tackle, but they're still winning football games. I thought, like, if you take Will Campbell out of this lineup, I don't know how they do it, So they're doing it.
I was with you. I said he's probably the most irreplaceable player, either offensively or on the entire team after Drake. Here we are. And that's also a hallmark, like the toughness, togetherness. It's the problem solving. Shit's going to happen. A lot of stuff has happened since I wrote that column about how healthy they are. And I swear to God, after last night's game, I did not do it again. I didn't even type half of a sentence about it in a tweet. But
I saw your tweet. It's funny. I did the game report for BSJ. So like you're kind of updating it as you go along because you can't, as soon as the game's over, you want that thing out there or close. And we have the injuries. And I'm just like, holy crap, another one and another one and another one. I'm like, I think I forgot in the game report Pop Douglas, who escaped my purview of getting hurt at some point during the game. But just so many guys went down, and yet all these guys are down. You're losing 24-13, and you still win.
Before we get to the nitty gritty, because we do deserve to get into that, and they won, and it was really close. And Lamar Jackson missed half that game, and that obviously affected things. So I would tell you the way he's been playing has been pretty Tyler Huntley-like. So it's not like you lost Lamar in another year. A couple things in the injuries. If Trayvon Henderson and Kayshon Boutte have concussions, which they had head injuries and they were ruled out, seems likely those are concussions. Seems unlikely they'll play on Sunday. Every concussion is different. Every player is different. But this is going to be not just a brittle roster, which it was, but a brittle and kind of cracking roster going into play the Jets. Thank God they're the Jets, and Brady Cook is going to start for them. On some other players, little birdies here and there. Would be surprised if Kairos Tonga is on the field then. I would be. This is danger time, danger zone. Milton Williams is eligible to be activated off injured reserve. It's good timing there, and Milton looks good the times that I've seen him in the locker room. So there you go. There was another one I'm missing, but anyway. There you go. Might be a little swap. Might be a little Tonga out, little win. We'll see. Anyway, Sunday night. We do these critical areas every week. Shockingly, in a 4-point game, they were very close. Here are the big 5 areas that we cover. Turnovers, 2-2. Explosive play rate. I already hit this one. 14% for the Patriots. This will change depending on your definition. For us, 20-plus yard passes, 12-plus yard runs. The Ravens were half that, 7.4%. Success rate, 50% even, both teams. This swung in the Baltimore's direction. Red zone efficiency. The Patriots were 1 of 3, and we spent a lot of time on the red zone defense. Let me tell you, their red zone offense not so hot.
No.
Over the last month, maybe 2 months, the Ravens were 2 of 3. And here's the last one that was closer. Defensive pressure rate. I stare at this number sometimes and I just don't believe it, even though I made it based on my own charting. Patriots 36%. And the Ravens 42. So it's not a big gap. But what happens with those mistakes is obviously up to the quarterback, but that's only if you put him under pressure. Drake had those mistakes with the pick to Boutte in the first drive. What did you make of his standing still, by the way?
Boutte?
Yeah.
I didn't love that at all. I thought he was very almost, and he's done a good job at this year. I thought he was almost unaware of where he was on the field to a certain degree too. Like, reduce space, reduce towards the sidelines. It's a scramble drill. You gotta you got to come back to the football. You've got to fight to get back to the football. Your quarterback is more right than forward. You know what I mean? Like he's not getting the usual zip on the ball. You can't. Drake threw it, and it wasn't a great throw. But
That was a bad throw. It's on Drake.
I would have liked to see some fight from Kayshon Boutte to come back to the football and at least play defense on the play.
I want to quote myself correctly here, because when that happened, I was like, "Oh, that wasn't great." But I didn't jump down Kayshon Boutte's throw because you see it once, that's it. You move on, start to prepare, flipping over to my defensive charting while you are having your notebooks, chit chat back and forth to make sure that they're on the same page. This is what I said. Kayshon Boutte did a lot of standing still at the end of that INT, and I had some people were like, "What is he supposed to do?" And my answer would be, more than that.
Yes.
Now your counter would be, okay, Callie, and he does a little bit more than that. Does that change anything? My response would be, I don't know, because it did happen faster.
Right.
Like rewatching that today, I didn't mention it in my film review because I just didn't think it was that material to the game. But there were some other routes though when I know he wasn't getting the ball, and I think he knew he wasn't getting the ball, and it wasn't 100%, which happens. They're receivers, but I don't know. I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, and just go back to last week, and we brought it up on the play where Maye got locked in on Trevion Henderson because they thought there was going to be a switch, and he got Teron Johnson on him. Boutte was running the crosser, was open, and it was one of the few times this year I can remember a receiver showing a little bit of displeasure that he didn't get the football. And so you just stack, okay, maybe we're going to this week and we don't necessarily run our hardest routes a couple times. There might be a conversation to be had there just with him and the coach and be like, hey, you're still important here. We're like, just because it's not coming to you as much as you would like, we keep talking about it. Vrabel is like pretty much once a week gives you the whole thing about the receivers. We know they want the ball and they don't always get the ball.
You think he's got that memorized now?
Oh my God. It's pretty much, if you go back, yes, actually, if you go back and you sort of compare and contrast, it's very similar. The answer is very similar.
I mean, he's not wrong. I wonder if he tells himself that, like, not in the shower, but alone in his office, like any moments of frustration. It's a big group of good receivers. Like, that's just what it is. But it's, like, this is how they are. You just have to get through it. And God bless Ty Downing, who's gotten the best out of Diggs, gotten the best out of Hollins, who both of them led the team in catches. Kyle Williams had a long touchdown. Awesome ball tracking on that. But the starting point, of course, to circle back to Drake Maye, is the guy throwing the ball. First 300-yard game, goes for 380. Overall, 31 of 44, 2 touchdowns in the pick. Until that fourth quarter, we would be lying if we said anything other than his defining plays were the mistakes. Because they had 13 points. They had gotten into the red zone and then into field goal range before half, and he gave the ball away both times, seemingly taking at least 6 points off the board. What obviously changed was him playing his best when his best was needed. 2 fourth-quarter drives. We all saw it. He came back. That's great. What was the driving force behind that change for you, though? Because I think we differ here a little.
In terms of his improved, I just think I liked his approach in the fourth quarter. A very simple thing, like not so he had been aggressive. He had attacked the intermediate parts of the field. He had thrown deep. He had middle of the field, sidelines, whatever. But it was in that very beginning of that first drive. It was just like, oh, that's not there. Get it to Hunter. 6-yard gain. He escapes a sack. It's got guy wrapped around his legs. Another completion to Hunter. And it was just like quick, good decisions, move the ball, get positive plays out of it. And then it was almost as if that whole thing crystallized for him. And it was like, oh, I got this. Like, I got this. And there were obviously, he had moments in the game where he did have it, but it sort of wavered a little bit during the course of the game. I thought his accuracy improved. I thought his decision-making improved, and the result was 12 of 14 for 139.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. You know what Tom Brady was in the fourth quarter of that Seattle?
Okay. Stop.
It was 13 of 15. I'm
trying to help you.
I don't even care. It's whatever. Just whatever.
Comes a big, vigorous swig.
I'm pouring right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm pouring.
My answer is the decision-making. And I think the poise in retrospect has been underestimated. And our guy, Taylor Kyles, tweeted this, I believe, that he got hit 10 times, which was a season high. And I went back, I was like, 10 times. Like, I know it happened, but there was only once where you saw him slow to get up. And again, this goes back to the point about grit. which everyone hears and its toughness and it sounds cliche, but there's like real psychological research that goes into the most successful people in different industries. The commonality is a kind of grit and determination and an ability to withstand and persist through any kind of adversity and hardship. The point for Drake is that they had trailed in about 18% of their minutes for the entire season. Okay. That's less than a quarter of the season. That's less than a fifth of the season. And last night against Baltimore, they had basically trailed the entire game because they only led for 148. And that includes, obviously, the end of the game when Baltimore had it and they kneeled the clock out. Despite getting hit 10 times, despite being down by 11 and going through that last drive, his decision-making was immaculate. And you just hit it on the head. I wanted, if you're Drake Maye, get these big scores immediately. We got to go. We have 2 scores. We need to stop in the middle of those. I have to make this happen now. No. 4 straight short passes, a 2-yard scramble, then against a 2-high shell, holds both safeties in place, knowing Kyle Williams is going to dust Marlon Humphrey, who, by the way, what happened to Marlon Humphrey? An all-pro last year who maybe made it because just ladies, the media box score study, he is the worst-rated corner by coverage grades at PFF right now.
Yeah, he's not the same player. I kind of actually thought last year he was a little bit more reputation than he was a player. Look, that position, you get old fast, and it feels like, and he's someone who, like, they loved him in the nickel. You know, in some ways, the way they use Kyle Hamilton, they were using Marlon Humphrey a few years ago, you know, in a similar manner, like get up there, get in the box, blitz, do all these different things. And Kyle Hamilton is significantly larger than Marlon Humphrey and built a little bit more to take that, although I don't know how much longer he can take it either. So I think Marlon's best days are behind him, and they went at him. And, you know, not only did he get the long touchdown with Kyle Williams, right, but he also drew a hold on Marlon Williams and got him a first down earlier. Marlon Humphreys earlier in the game.
I wasn't going to call you out.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good teammate. So he has the patience. He has the accuracy. He's reading through the coverage, which also I didn't think he was fooled really at all with some of the Ravens' disguises. And we've talked about his numbers versus disguise coverage, and they're very good. It doesn't mean you just give up on disguising. Like Buffalo got away with some really good disguises that forced him to hold on to the football, and that extra quarter second, extra half second was the difference in some big plays for their defense. Anyway, so they go down, the patience, the accuracy, you hit the long shot when you like your matchup, speedy rookie versus suddenly world's worst corner, and you get the 37-yard touchdown. The next series, he's at his own 11. So this is we just got to get some breathing room, right? No. He realizes they're in man coverage and Matt Collins goes in motion. There's a safety on Matt Collins in man-to-man coverage. Where does he go? He goes to Matt Collins for a 20-yard gain. So this is properly timed aggression, playing matchup ball. And then you go to the 4th and 2, which you tweeted today and astutely observed, because I missed this, that probably should have been pass breakup or a pick if there wasn't a little bit of a slip. But who was covering Stefon Diggs? It wasn't Nate Wiggins. It wasn't even God's least favorite corner, Marlon Humphrey. It was another safety. Yeah. So where does Drake Maye go with the ball? And this is the decision making. This is the poise. 4th down, game of my shoulders, playoff berth at stake. If I screw this up, it's gone out of our hands potentially because we're like at the middle of the field. This was an improvement, in my opinion, on the decision making that we also saw earlier in the game. The booty pick, which was just like throw it out of bounds. You don't have this. I mean, there was bad accuracy, but like not a great angle. The long shot incompletion to Stevenson on 3rd and 2, which I know you have the pre-designed play, and I think they thought they would get a lull or some aggression there from Baltimore. I don't want to see long shots to running backs on 3rd and 2. I'm sorry. Call me old school. Call me a loser. Call me whatever you want. I don't like it. And then some couple late throws over the middle. All of that was gone when the game was on the line. So between the poise, the decision-making, just in the big moments, and we have to mention this too, because we hit on 2 of those plays. The best version of Drake Maye has the best deep ball in the league. He had 5 completions on passes that traveled more than 20 yards through the air. That was the most he's had all season. He had 9 when you include yards after the catch and how many yards that those passes gained. That's how he gets you. And it might not be in the first quarter or in the second or the third. And it might only be that he leads for a minute 48, but that's how good he is. And only because he was able to overcome the mistakes that we've all detailed.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the deep ball to Kyle Williams for a second, because you mentioned him holding the safeties. And when you went back and watched the play over again, it was perfect. Like that should have been covered. There should have been help over the top. At the very least, he should have been throwing into a safety coming over the top to try to help Marlon Humphreys out, but held him long enough. And then that throw was like, I mean, it was an awesome catch. It was an awesome throw. Like they're both, whatever. They both get, standing ovation, what a golf clap, whatever you want to do. Like it was just beautifully executed and the right time to make that throw. Like that was the thing too. I just think there were a lot of, in that fourth quarter, just bam, that's it. Just get it. That's the right throw. That's the right play. As you were saying, the decision-making was great. And lastly, on the Taylor tweet, he took a ton of hits in the chest, and he stood there, and that just speaks volumes about who he is. Like, I'm going to get hit. It's coming, and I'm still going to stand in there, and I'm still going to deliver the ball accurately and effectively. Like, easy to get happy feet in that moment. Easy when you're as mobile as he is to say, screw it. I'm going to try to duck this sack and run away. Nope. He just stood in there. He took his beating, and he delivered a win.
Which just reminds me, and I don't want to go on a tangent, but like before that game, in addition to do we really know if Vrabel's a good coach? I got a hunch that a guy 17 games over 500 in his 7th season as a head coach might be okay. But the Drake stuff, and this is like the oxygen for idiots on the internet is attention. I don't really want to give them oxygen. But this discussion, which has also permeated sports radio, of is Drake clutch? Does he have the clutch gene? Blah, 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 blah. Even if they lose that game, I am thoroughly unconcerned with that because last year, throw it out the window given all of the offense around him. This isn't to excuse him or give him a long leash than he deserves. It's just to say, I understand where he is in his development. Those games matter. He needs more chances to win those than they've had because, again, they've been up by more than half of their minutes so far this season. Again, thanks to the schedule. I'm glad that he did it because it also puts to bed something that I just think was freaking ridiculous when we say he can do everything else. It's not like he's choking in those moments or did last year. He was a 22-year-old rookie in the worst offense in the league with bad coaching and even worse roster. Anyway, things are better, so is he. Do you want to quickly do the game plan? Because this was not the plan, by the way, to put the ball in Drake's hands and let him go to work on 11 personnel, which leads me to my favorite stat from yesterday. And I went through my notes again and again this morning while eating a Subway sandwich at 8:30 in the morning at the Baltimore airport. And it was as average as it sounds. I had them down for 44 snaps with 11 personnel. Let's say I missed 3. Cool. You know what I didn't miss? 1 design run. So take that down to 40. 39 called passes to 1 called run and 11 personnel. I don't have any criticism for that. It's just I don't think I'll see that again for as long as I'm covering the team. But that's where they ended up. Part of it situational, and end of the first half, end of the second half, 2 long drives, blah, blah, blah. I got it. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's very unique. And I was kind of like racking my brain. Like, do I recall a situation where the number was that skewed? And I mean, I would have to go back and look at my notes, but that feels like it wouldn't be touched. That feels like there would be, just by happenstance, there would be a handful of runs thrown in there. And there wasn't.
All right. So what was the plan? Because this was like, I don't know. You tell me what it was like. Was it cute?
How dare you? How dare you? You get on the wrong side
of things that don't deserve oxygen. Not our guy, Tommy Curran, but just like the way that conversation developed into something far away from anyone's wondering. But anyway, continue. Sorry, I interrupted.
I thought they wanted to, and I think you saw it early on. They wanted some bigger personnel. They wanted to use jumbo. They wanted to run the football effectively. Losing Henderson obviously didn't help the cause, but I think maybe they felt early like this isn't kind of going the way we thought. Trying to get Drake into a bit of a rhythm as well. And then obviously the score starts to dictate the way you're playing, and the position you're in. Hey, we're not running it with nearly the efficiency that we want to and having the success we want to. And we might as well put the ball in Ten's hands and see what happens.
Yeah. They ran, and meaning McDaniels and Thomas Brown, Todd Downing, a lot of different packages with the 6 offensive linemen. And part of this is out of necessity. Okay, like who do we got? Like all we got is all we need. Well, what do we got? Because we might need to make some phone calls. And it was Ben Brown as the second tight end. It was Thayer Munford, and then Munford gets hurt, or Moses gets hurt. Munford's the right tackle, and then Ben Brown has to fill in because I'm glad they pivoted away from the traditional just 12 personnel. I know they're happy with Henry and they're happy with Hooper and they're happy with them together. The numbers are not happy with them together from an efficiency standpoint. Anyway, that's where they wanted to live, is in that kind of jumbo world. And there was some good stuff in there, but it just didn't last. And so obviously you fall behind, you play a lot more 11 personnel. But I think it was less about personnel than it was how do we want to get after them structurally, and then also some very small tendencies. Like, for example, the Ravens edge defenders crash like all hell straight into the backfield. And there's some ways to protect yourself behind that. But you saw this in the way that Hunter Henry delayed his release on that incompletion in the end zone that Kyle Van Noy expertly covered, where you think that they're just going to be a bull at a china shop, and that china shop is the backfield, and then we lock you in and that bull can't go anywhere. They covered that. 2 plays later, you had this flip to Henderson and some misdirection that says you should be chasing the initial action that we show you, and if you do, we'll have a big gain. Well, that went for -3 yards. So then you're going, okay, they're not crashing as hard as we think, and even when they do, we can't really get anything out of it. The other thing that they did structurally, which I think was, fairly obvious for teams to play a lot of single high, and this is where your insane, and I'll leave it at that, Seattle take holds up. When they wanted to go down the field, which they did not a whole lot, down the seams. You play single high, middle of the field closed, loaded box. You were leaving the seams open. Austin Hooper had that catch down there. There were some incompletions in that area of the field, and everything else was short because Drake was something like 20 of 23 with underneath. So that's kind of what I saw. But inevitably, game script unfolds. The stuff that you want isn't working, and McDaniels has talked about this, and good for Josh for being flexible and saying, look, we planned this for 6 days. On the 7th day, God rested, and I had to change my game plan. And that's what they did.
And that's what he's always been really good at, right? I mean, John, when we talk about Josh and his ability to not be married to certain things, to adapt over the course of a game, it's not something that we're doing last year. Just out of, this is what we're doing. Oh, they're doing something different. Oh, this is still what we're doing. But this isn't really working. Well, this is still what we're doing. Okay, that's not how it works. I mean, you just talk about from a protection standpoint too, like constantly adjusting protection and giving people different looks. I mean, we had that big conversation about what they did to Brian Burns in the Giants game, but always like kind of giving different looks, so you're not really sure, is the second body coming? Where's the second body coming from? How are they going to attack me? They've always been very good at that when Josh is calling the offense.
There was some other stuff in here too. They had 3 straight passes of play action, which put a big smile on my face.
Happy Andrew.
Let's go down those play action throws. 26-yard throw, that was to Austin Hooper. We covered that, which was contested catch. This is not some victory of scheme. That is Austin Hooper, nicely done. Drake Maye gave him a shot, and he paid off. 1-yard touchdown to Hunter Henry. This was another delayed release. Hey, if we hang in for a second, you're going to take the bait, and then we're going to yank it away, and we're going to throw behind you. Easiest touchdown Hunter Henry will have all year. And then 6 yards to our guy, Pop Douglas, on a check down to start their 3rd drive. Then it gets into Stefon Diggs time. And this is where playing through 11 personnel, which they did a lot against Buffalo, but Diggs did not play half of the snaps, and it was only 59% last night, really paid off. Because, again, 3 catches versus man coverage, all for first downs. He had, I have the numbers in front of me, 138 yards, 9 catches, and 10 targets. Like that, they went where they should have when they're going to play that way. And that wasn't the case against Buffalo, who did, again, double team some, whatever. It wasn't a lot of hard doubles, but shades and this and that. The Ravens did not, and that was a mistake.
Yeah. Talking about Josh making alterations to his game plan and his approach. Zach Ward, the defensive coordinator, they dial up some different things. They showed some different simulated pressures and dropped 8 at times or whatever. But it did feel like that's the guy tonight. He's got a little extra juice in his wheels. You might want to pay him a little bit more attention, especially on the money downs. And like you said, the 4th and 2, it's our Darius Washington, a safety covering him. That's it's not a great plan. It's not a great plan at all.
I heard something about Diggs that even before warmups, like during the day, there was a sense, oh shit, he's gonna have a big game. Like kind of within the team, just watching the way he was moving, the way that he was, and he's always got great energy. And like there's a guy, he broke down the team in the locker room after the game. Vrabel doesn't hand him the keys to that huddle unless he is fully as bought in as he's talked about. Good for Steph, but like that when you have energy and it's all going in the direction the coaching staff wants, you have equity with everybody. And so anyway, I just think that's something of note. And who knows if they'll ever say that again about before playing the Dolphins or the Jets in the playoffs. But
and just quickly, 9 receptions on 10 targets. The efficiency with which they have when Drake Maye throws the ball to Stefon Diggs this season for a wide receiver, an undersized, comparatively speaking, to some of these big number 1 receivers that other teams have, is absurd. Like, it shouldn't be this efficient with a 32-year-old wide receiver and a 23-year-old quarterback that are playing in their 15th game together. But this is what it's been, and this is what it's been pretty much from jump.
You mentioned the alterations to the plan. I did not look at this because it didn't occur to me, like, how much they might have guarded against any potential brackets. Because, like, there's ways to, anticipate this. And I'm not just like saying put guys in bunches and run some, crossing routes and create some traffic. Like, there's some motion stuff and some route. You want to east-west something, we'll send them vertical, right? You want to go top down, we'll be able to have counters to that. I didn't know if that was there. I'm sure it was, if I just had to guess. But I hope so, because teams, like, if they have round 3 versus Buffalo, which at this point, I'll be honest, we don't root for anything. That's the job. I'm rooting for that.
That'd be a fun one.
So if I go rewatch this game again after Elf or the Grinch or this podcast on replay, that's what I'll be going to look for. One player we've not hit really quickly, and I think we're pretty much done. I mean, the offensive line, Vidarian Lowe, 6 pressures, not good. Jared Wilson, fewer pressures, just as bad. The booty penalty, we all said it. It sucked. Non-call. Excuse me. Ramondre Stevenson, 84% of offensive snaps for a running back who not only held up in blitz pickup, forced 3 missed tackles, had an explosive catch, the game-winning touchdown, and a run that contributed to sealing the game in a way that wasn't just like, okay, there was a cutback and a hole. They had been stopped in that same run play twice.
Yep.
And then he cuts back and forces them to pay for that. It just set up his blockers really, really well, that the would-be tacklers just didn't have much of an option because of the way he was running. I thought this was an awesome Mondre game.
Yeah, and I think this is now multiple in a row here from Ramondre. And, I asked him, I don't know if it was a week ago or so, about, like, was there some benefit to the toe injury in terms of just your overall body fresh? Whatever. But, like, to me, he's moved significantly better than he was at the beginning of the year, at any point that we saw him last year. And I don't know, confidence, health, lack of wear and tear. I don't know, fire lit under his ass because Trevion's getting more touches. I don't know what it was or what it's been, but he has made a difference for this football team. And it looks more like the Ramondre that I think they felt comfortable paying to a certain degree a couple of years ago than what they had gotten in production from him up until a few weeks ago.
The contract got me thinking about who gave him that contract. The answer was Elliott Wolf. And, like, when we're on the road, talk about pulling the curtain back, sometimes the executives for the visiting team, the Patriots on the road, obviously that's us, sit behind visiting media. These executives, and he was sitting with the guys you would think are also at the top of the front office, or as, like, engaged. Again, it's their job. I get that. But, like, you could put them on their couches at home and they look like you listening to us now and watching, and sometimes have to walk away based on penalties, or just get up and they're gone. Which is really nothing of value that I just offered you, but something you didn't know, so I told you. I don't have much else on offense other than it's like it's the Jets, but there's also, I don't know. I would love to see Diggs sustain this a little bit. I'm curious how they're just going to manage all of the health stuff. And
my feeling is it's almost like, hey, Steph, thanks. We'll see you in January. Like, you're going back down to 40% snaps. Although, again, with the injuries, maybe they have to work some different things here.
Kyle Williams probably plays season high in snaps at the X and plays a booty. Efton Chisholm, maybe. I mean, you can't play with your food too much, not because the Jets will make you choke on it, but because you have a division title possibly at stake. So you have to take it seriously.
Well, plus, I mean, just look at this past weekend again. Bills sort of played with their food and they nearly lost to Cleveland. Like, but I mean, when you hear guys say it, Vrabel just said it's like this is December football and these are, like this is the league. It is true though. We've been around the league a long time, and you see these wacky results sometimes. Like, the Texans, who have been kicking everybody's ass for basically 2 months, damn near lost to Vegas Raiders, who are objectively and unobjectively the worst effing football team in the league. Like, they could probably have to blow out the whole coaching staff again. So like, it just you beat up. It's right after Christmas. It's the Jets. Like, like we got nothing. We got nothing to lose. Yeah, no nap times.
I'm taking a nap. Let me tell you, that Saturday, big nap time. That's it. All right. Defensively, look, I don't think there's a lot here interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the nitty gritty. Like, there's stuff where you run out of defensive tackles because there goes Joshua Farmer and Anthony Jennings. I don't know if you've done this since high school. How do you feel about playing 5 technique? He's got a really low voice. I can't even get there. Sure, is what he says. Yeah. And it was only 4 snaps, but I'm watching him be like, is he really? Oh, he's okay. He's one of the 3 down guys, and they're not like a regular 3-4 set. The run defense, I guess, was good enough. 171 yards, 5.2 yards per carry. Success rate was 48, which is better for the offense than it is for the defense. They played a lot of base. They played a little goal line, which was the first snap of just like, here's the biggest people we have on the team all right in front of you. The one thing that I do think might transfer to the next couple of weeks, and more so with Miami, because Mike McDaniel has kind of revived their run game and also made them a little bit more interesting, is the way that Baltimore got all 3 touchdowns in their best runs, which was to engage Christian Gonzalez as a force player, run crack tosses, pin and pulls, which for people who don't know, all of these plays involve basically a receiver out wide, turning inside and slamming into the edge defender, outside linebacker, defensive end, whatever, from the side. And that allows the offensive lineman to cross from that edge defender, or maybe a spot down, because you saw a center pull, you saw guards pull, you saw tackles pull, around that receiver who's blocking the defensive end. Now they're out on the edge, and you have a mismatch of here comes, Ronnie Stanley against Christian Gonzalez. Yeah. Guess who's going to win that with the head full of steam? And it's to pick on Christian Gonzalez, like, let's be clear, but it's also to pick on corners in general. You saw it on the first touchdown for Henry. You saw it on the Flowers play, which was their second touchdown, and then Henry again. Something I've got my eye on, and I know they're aware of this, the staff is, and they're going to find answers, and they're going to try to be ready. But, like, the Ravens clearly went, oh, you want to play base? You want to bulk up and goal line? We're going after your little guys, and we're getting on the edge where you're too slow, and we're going to have an advantage because we're going to be on the move, and you're just not going to be able to out-muscle us or keep up. And they were right.
Counter. Can they find answers? Are there any answers? Because this isn't just, to me, this isn't just about attacking the corners. This has been, as we've talked about 1,000 times on this program and 1,000 times offline, about the inability, their struggles on the edge. In particular, you target Caleb Vaughn, but now Harold Landry, I think his play has the last 2 weeks has been rough for me. Like, he's out there, but that's the best thing I can say. Like, because there's just not much juice there, and we know he's playing hurt. They obviously managed him all last week. He didn't practice. Coming off the bye, I don't know. I don't know how you necessarily fix that. We've seen them go to the 3 linebackers. We've seen them use Tavai at times as an edge. He was yesterday.
Not good.
Yeah, so it's just like Ponder was victimized on the 23-yard run by Henry. That's just I don't know how you do it. I know we've seen times where they take a Williams or a Barmore and they put him on the edge, but you're not living that way on an every down basis.
Well, and I mean, there's ways to try to steal gaps, and you slant and you run stun, and like stuff they did against Buffalo, where I don't know if it was with you or maybe when I was talking to JP Acosta, like when Vrabel was talking about, oh, they led the league in holds. I don't know how they only get called for 1. That's what that was about. Hey, we're moving guys that should be obvious. We're getting held because we're trying to run stun, and you okay, you don't want to call anything. Right. Anyway, there's a lot of smaller different answers, but the bottom line doesn't change the fact that the talent is the talent. And again, I don't think this will hurt them against the Jets. An early lead is the best answer. The second best answer, or maybe the best, tied for first, I don't know, is turnovers, which we hit on the beginning. And that's just kind of what it is. But like if you see those plays pop up again, guard tackle counter. So it's not just the one lineman pulling, it's two of them out on the edge. Here we go. Good luck. Which I think they might have been trying to steal gaps from the opposite side and just got unlucky in that first touchdown. The point is that will be because Miami or Buffalo studied this tape and said, all right, we thought we might be able to go inside, but this is even better because it was. Christian Gonzalez, I will say, did have a better second half. Took down Derrick Henry, had a pass breakup than he did in the first half. But you could see anytime they were on that tablet in the sideline, big circle or at number 0. And it was, we're running over here. Anything else? I mean, there's a lot more smaller stuff. Like Corey Durden had a decent game, and Jennings had the sack, and Barmore had a QB hit, his 4th in like 10 games. And that was really it. Some 3 safety was in there, which you never really see, which again, it's them kind of like not grasping at straws, but really just trying to patch this together because I think their injuries on defense were almost as bad as they were on offense. Jalen Hawkins had a forced fumble. I don't know.
Yeah, Pettis was victimized on the reverse to Flowers. He got taken out twice on that play, and then took out one of his own guys in the process as well. I thought Tonga actually, again, it was short. It was a quarter and a half, maybe. I think I had him for run stuff, a pressure, and did I have him for 2 or 3 tackles? Like he was pretty active and looked more like the Tonga we saw pre-injury than we saw last week against Buffalo. I know. The guy's his body is betraying him here in this last month, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Carlton Davis, much like you're saying about you're going after Gonzalez. I do kind of. He's been physical at times. He's supported the run. Carlton Davis, like same thing, kind of just like throwing himself in there. In fact, on the Derrick Henry fumble, which they were headed for another touchdown. That was going to be quickly a 14-0 game. He's the one who first stuck his head in there and got Henry occupied before the punch out happened. So I give him credit, man, from a physicality standpoint. Like he's a lanky dude. And he's putting his head in there trying to make some plays.
The way you described that sounds like if you were to, as something I have no expertise in, but like rob a bank, like Carlton Davis is the guy doing the distraction, willing to stick his nose in there first. And that I think aligns with his personality. Like, F it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So what did I ask about robbing a bank? Oh, Garrett Bradbury is very confident the Patriots offensive line could absolutely have enough teamwork to rob a bank. And I think he assigned certain linemen different responsibilities. First of all, I would never advise any offensive line room, as big and as intimidating they might be, to rob a bank because you guys are not fleet of foot. You are not in a getaway car. If you were all in the getaway car, that thing might be sagging at the back just because you're giant human beings. Corners, though, slot receivers,
yep.
You give me like 10 mean-spirited Pop Douglases, which is an oxymoron, doesn't exist.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We might be pretty rich.
Could you... I just now envision this like out of a scene in Point Break where the offensive linemen all come in with their helmets on. Morgan Moses, like God bless him, but Morgan Moses, between here and the getaway car, I don't know if he's making it.
Limping away, which in all seriousness, that dude played through an injury that had him out for the game and then went back in, and Vrabel had a long embrace with him going back to the locker room. That's real. That's respect. That's appreciation. I don't know if he plays Sunday. I don't even know if they know he'll play Sunday. I'm sure he'll say he will, but man, it's 34. He's got a bad knee right now, and that's tough. Okay, I think it's time for studs and duds.
Yeah. Drake Maye, obvious. Stefon Diggs. I threw the other 2 receivers in there, Hollins and Williams, and it wasn't a perfect from Williams, but, I mean, the touchdown alone gets you on there. The fact that they actually completed a slant pass to him, which is something they've had a hard time all year, like, hey, how about that? Like, we're getting there. And Hollins, like, just, and I think I've mentioned to you this before, but maybe I've said it in my own head. His footwork at the top of his route sometimes is underappreciated. He's not considered like this great route runner, and I'm not saying that he is, but there's a little bit more nuance to him at the top of the route, which I think has sort of helped him. I think it's one of the reasons why McDaniels liked him when he was in Vegas and had in his career year, and now he's, this is his second best year.
I don't know how we missed him talking about the defense, but K'Lavon Chaisson is in there for that effort play. We're like, okay, they ran at him and it went well for the Ravens. None of that matters relative to how he punched out that fumble and chased that down as Vrabel made the dad joke of dad jokes. And anyone who laughed at that needs to sit with themselves and feel a little ashamed. You can feel happy that they won. We can all be good fives. Did not deserve any laughter.
And then someone stole it and asked Jason about it afterwards. We were
No.
Yeah, oh yeah, it happened.
Who did that?
I don't
Game
know.
them, out them.
I can't
now.
I don't know. I don't know, but it was like, oh, come on, really? And he's like, oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. I'll struggle with that one. Like, yes, absolutely awesome play. Can't.
I mean, it sealed the game.
It did. But he helped contribute to them not being able to stop the run efficiently. I don't know. That's a.
We talked about that though. It's just not. It's too much for him. He is.
You're right. We have
AJ Soprano engaged to a girl with a kid, and you're just like, this is too much.
It's Goodwill Hunting. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
It's a little serious, but anyway.
But it's not your fault.
Studs and duds. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Duds.
Low. Jared Wilson. We mentioned both of those guys. Struggle bus. I thought Christian Gonzalez had a hard time covering Zay Flowers. Again, they had some moments in the fourth quarter, but by and large, not his best. And I kind of feel bad about this. Dr. Gibby played the full game for a second straight game, 54 snaps, and there are like 5 or 6 really good plays in there. Like legitimately, like, damn, that's a nice play by Jack Gibbons. There's also 5 or 6 plays where you're like, oh, that's just not good at all. And again, he's out. He's playing because Spillane is hurt, and he would be normally getting 10 to 15 reps. He's getting 54. He's got the green dot. He's doing what he can, but he can be and was at times exploited.
Dr. Gibby.
I love Dr. Gibby. Like, good dude.
For sure.
Yeah, and giving you this, he's giving you effort. It's that's where I struggle with it. It's just like you're just not physically talented
with the player. He's overextended, is what that is. Like third, fourth linebacker, you're seeing why now. That's what it is. You want him in the locker room, smart guy. I'm just laughing at the name like Dr. Gibby, which just all of a sudden hit Vrabel and it stuck. And whatever goes, oh, why do they call him that? This story never matches to what you think it will
not
for
at
someone
all.
who's nicknamed Dr. Gibby. I've got one more because I harped on this during the game. And this is split between Vrabel and John Stryker stretch for some of the game management stuff. Number one was the 4th and 2 at Baltimore's 22-yard line, where they kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tie game in the third quarter, I believe. And we know then that Lamar Jackson's out, which is to say you lost some firepower if you're the Ravens and all. And I'm going, not only were the Patriots over 70% go, meaning going for it, when they were in plus territory, opponent's territory, with 2 yards or fewer to go this season. So this is an outlier. This is an exception. But if you go get that touchdown, Tyler Huntley has to throw, which means Tyler Huntley has to do the thing that you want him to do, and you kind of have control of the game. He can get lucky, Tyler Huntley can, with a penalty or a missed tackle and get into field goal range and match that score. Any quarterback can. You know what he did? Is he got lucky with a penalty and an explosive play. And then they went down, and I think they scored a touchdown. So should not have kicked the field goal. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of regret whenever they review it. If they do, I don't know if they even have time because, man, I think everyone's in the training room, whether you are a doctor, a fake doctor linebacker, or not at all. But the point is, didn't love that, and they shouldn't have either. The other one was a fake punt, which God help us.
Yeah.
4th and 10, that was a tied game. So now I'm getting all the timeline screwed up. But the point is, why?
Yeah.
And
it was clear. And I don't know if this is something that was told to the broadcast team beforehand to keep an eye out on. But Collinsworth mentioned when they took the delay of game on the punt that he thought they were looking for it then, and they didn't get what the look they wanted, so they just took the delay and punted. And in that moment, it's like, okay, now you've kind of maybe tipped your hand a little bit to Baltimore that you're considering this thing. So now we're going to be a little bit more alert. And to me, the part of it is it's the 4th and 10. It's not 4th and 3.
Yes.
Where if your first option, which is to throw the ball to Jack Westover, is not there, Marte Mapu, as an athlete, can tuck the ball and try to run and make something happen. You can maybe convert that. when that look is not there, and it was clearly not there, defender underneath, defender over the top, like, I don't know who's making that throw. Drake's making the throw, but I don't know who else is. Then it was like, well, now what? Now you're just completely screwed. And I mean, it was just a cluster.
This is where, not literally, but I show my ass as an uncultured person, TV and movie wise. What is the reference where it's like, you might be wondering how I got here?
I don't know. You're asking me. I don't.
It's like a freeze frame, or like, and you kind of tell the backstory. Anyway, that's what I imagine Marte Mapu, lifelong question mark positionally, linebacker, safety, nickel, I don't know, throwing to, now positional question mark, Jack Westover, fullback, tight end, I don't really know, H-back, on 4th and 10 on a punt and having nowhere to go with it. You might be wondering how they got here. A horrible call. Now, speaking of bad decisions, I screwed up the timeline of this. Here was the field goal that I mentioned. 4th and 2, halfway through the third quarter. That was a tied game. It was 10-10. Borregales nails it, 13-10. So again, what will it take for Tyler Huntley to go down the field and get a touchdown? A deep prayer to DeAndre Hopkins, who can only do one thing left in his career, but it's stuff like this. Just ridiculously difficult toe tap sideline catches, 16 yards. They're in midfield. Face mask penalty gets them to the Patriots 21. Hand off to Derrick Henry, hand off to Zay Flowers. Boom, touchdown. Tyler Huntley barely did anything there, and they scored a touchdown. That's why you don't kick the field goal. Then the Patriots go and punt. Not really, though, and fake it, and that's how you get 24-13. Okay.
Also, when Mike Vrabel says Tyler Huntley can do everything that Lamar Jackson does, I assume that he means he can take the snap and can run a little bit. Like,
he can start playoff games.
He can. He actually made Did you know Tyler Huntley is a one-time Pro Bowler in a season in which he started 2 football games? So when you tell me, if the Pro Bowl's tomorrow, right? We find out who made the Pro Bowl, who's voted in, whatever. What a load of garbage the Pro Bowl is. Tyler Huntley was like the 11th quarterback. Everybody kept saying, no, I'm hurt. I don't want to go. I'm not going to do it. And all of a sudden, Tyler Huntley on his resume on Football Reference is a Pro Bowl quarterback. He is 6-10 as a starting quarterback in this league, and he is a Pro Bowler. As Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler.
So I'm glad you brought that up. And I promise I'm going to stick the landing here. But I was watching college football on Saturday, and the middle games, what was it, 3:30, Ole Miss, Tulane went as exactly as you thought Ole Miss, Tulane would go, because it happened once and it was bad, and the second time was worse. So I flip around and find Montana State. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's FCS, quarterfinal, semifinal rivalry, beautiful mountains in the background. I'm like, I'm going to watch this game. That doesn't go so great. But it got me thinking about a story that I think Seth Wickersham wrote a while ago about Sean Payton. He had come back. Part of the story takes place in Montana, where there's just this resort of like elitist football characters in your life. And Elway's been there. And I know Brady's got a cabin up in Montana. And it just made me think, do you think there's like a club of fraud Pro Bowlers, like Mac Jones and Tyler Huntley get together in Montana in a cabin, or just like, man, we did it. And you just like add members and you hang out for a weekend and you could drink or you could fish or you could just show up and then leave, because there are so many players like that now who would fit in this fraud Pro Bowlers club. Go wherever you want.
Brandon Merriweather was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Sorry, I watched Brandon Merriweather in his career. He was no Pro Bowler.
We can do better than an example, more recent example.
The Patriots example.
He was never one of the best safeties in the league, but there's like a name equity there, playing for an undefeated regular season team, first round pick. Like, I understand how you can do the bad math to get from Brandon Merriweather's tape to Pro Bowler. Tyler Huntley and Mac Jones. Come on.
Well, I mean, was Drake a Pro Bowler last year?
Yes, he was.
I mean, this Drake is a Pro Bowler. He's an All-Pro. That Drake was the quarterback of a team that won 4 games, of which he won 1 game from start to finish and turned the ball over twice a game. Like, yes, there were signs that he might be good. He was not a Pro Bowl quarterback, but he already has that to his resume.
He does. Yeah, he doesn't have to go to Montana. He can go wherever he wants.
Yeah,
where would the MVPs hang out?
And pretty soon, a couple of years from now, he might be able to buy Montana. The contract that they're going to have to give him.
That's a whole other discussion. I did take a peek ahead at next offseason.
Yeah.
They don't have many free agents. It's like Jalen Hawkins, Austin Hooper, missing one, or K'Lavon Chason, who I think is probably gone because he's just going to get a bag. That's what happens. 26-year-old pass rushers, good seasons, yada yada. Thank you for your time. Flyer contract paid off. Tonga's another one. The negotiations on extensions, and I think a renegotiation with Steph Diggs is going to be really interesting. And I don't want to talk about this more because I'm going to do it later this week. Full mailbag episode, another every question answered edition. But Diggs has got less than $2 million guaranteed next year. Gonzalez is going to command a big contract, but the box score
less than $2 million guaranteed for Stefon Diggs will not. I repeat, will not fly. And quite frankly, the way he's played, it shouldn't fly. I'm not, but just know your audience here. He needs to be appreciated, and his appreciation is touches and it's dollars. So adjust your brain for that because it's going to have to happen. Assuming they want to keep him around.
Yeah, which I'm sure
which at this point, there's no reason to think that they would.
Yeah. All right, let me have it. I'm going to let you go first in this segment for the new folks, now over 3,000 watching live, that do not understand. This is the point where when it's your turn, you get to complain about something the other guy said during the episode. And the other guy has to sit there and listen and have it until first person's finished. So
I might be leading you into what you're going to make. I do not like your reaction and your straight up dismissal over the fourth quarter. I put the caveats. It was the Super Bowl. It was Seattle, which was an all-time team. I'm just telling you, that was the vibe I picked up from that game. That was clutch. I don't care what you think. Aggregators aggregate. But you and you're doing it again with your freaking reaction, your hands in your head. You're getting red in the face. I would just slap you. Okay. So I'm done. Go ahead.
You are comparing a Week 16 game against a 500 football team to one of the greatest quarters of one of the greatest Super Bowls ever, played by two of the greatest teams ever. And no matter what I'm going to say, you're going to do what you're doing right now, which is casually smile and nod like you're not actually upset, even though you just expressed that you are upset. So you can drop the facade if you'd like. This is permission just to be honest and open. This is a safe space, Mike. There it is. There's the bird. She is flying free right now. That was insane. All credibility, which granted, I didn't get off to a great start with new people, with a very self-involved pat on the back. But it's Week 16 for me too. And when we call some shots and they follow through, granted, not the team that was going to win Sunday, but how that game was going to go and how this offense has changed against man coverage. Not great by me. I'll admit it. But it's my show. So I get to do that. You come in just completely
came in hot.
Undercutting one of the greatest games ever with a whatever game that's only going to be remembered as the way his career should go. Footnote for Drake Maye. For now is like second paragraph of an obit that obviously no one's writing. But the summary, the Wikipedia page. Okay, it's somewhere in there with the second year. Just so deeply offensive. This isn't as bad as some people calling Javon Baker the new Matthew Slater at the end of training camp because he was only playing special teams in the way that you would have some people sign from the practice squad for a week just to be on the kickoff. That was upsetting. That was offensive. But I think if you told the nicest human being on earth, Matthew Slater, but the comparison you just made, he would wag a different finger at you, a less rude one, in a very disappointing way, and tell you why, better than I have now, why you were so wrong.
See, you just see there were little caveats in it. I'm just telling you that was the vibe I picked up from the game. I didn't compare it one for one, apples to apples. But you, like the rest of the world these days, you hear like 5 words and that's it. It's gone.
I heard all of the words. I heard all of the words.
I don't think you did. And you know what?
Absolutely.
How about this? I regret nothing.
You know what this was? Is like if you were. I get the caveats, and I could even fill in some.
By the way, what's the greatest game I've ever seen in my life?
2-possession deficit. I can't believe I'm indulging this. This is insane.
Yes.
But the 2-possession deficit, single high defense, you're going down the seams, you're throwing underneath. This is as if you wanted to compare some random attractive woman on the street to your wife. And then you said, but I gave you all of the caveats. It was so long ago when I first met you, and it's not about her this. It's really about that. None of that matters once you bring in the most beautiful woman in your life to some stranger. It's just a fundamentally flawed, idiotic exercise, a trap. You've stepped in it. I'm going to leave you now, even though I tried to help you out, because you deserve whatever's coming your way, save for your new best friend, Scott, who threw you what I assume was, he felt like a lifeline, but it's really just an anvil that's bringing both of you down.
I regret nothing.
Okay.
That was the greatest game I've ever seen, by the way, in person.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've had the pleasure of covering many a great football game. That was the best.
Okay. Dad pod, and then we're out of here.
Yeah, shoot.
I looked at a house today. By the way, for the folks who, again, complain, and I shouldn't indulge them as much, the football talk is done. We gave you well over an hour.
Yes.
I have a 6-week-old who's 44 days old, which I know because the time that she was born is an alarm that goes off my phone every single day. So today was 44, tomorrow will be 45, on and on and on. And the reason I bring up the house today is because this thing was on the market in Connecticut, where we might move. It would be a longer commute to Foxborough, but flew in and out of Hartford to Baltimore, got in, was like doing film in the car, wife driving, on the plane, to and from, going back. But it's crazy for me going from like, okay, we have a kid, and now it's in season, all these plans, and we're going to get a house soon, to maybe this is it. And I looked at this for 2 months, as you do, late at night, 2 in the morning. You're like, why is it still in the market? And it's still there and there and there. And it got to a point where in a former life, this is like an attractive, seemingly normal woman across from the bar who's all alone. And this house had been on the market for 54 days. I'm like, why is no one else in the bar talking to this house? So we go. It turns out the person who owns this house in Eastern Connecticut is a big Patriots fan, because the basement is decked out in memorabilia. You've got the recliner. The TV was from probably 1998, but the screen's pretty big. It just happens to weigh probably a legitimate ton. And I started thinking, this might work out. Then I thought maybe it won't, because there was someone who recognized me, and I told this story before, at a Red Sox game. When I was out with a friend, he worked at like Tasty Burger, I think. We stopped in, met some friends. Stop. Hey, are you Andrew Callahan? This normally goes well. I go, yeah. He goes, thought so. And then walked away. Didn't take my order, by the way. Just left. So anyway, I'm processing all of this. The other part about this is the man who lives there only cares about his Patriots decked out basement, because the rest of the house, I kid you not, there were like small mouse pellets, and there was like a cabinet that was broken. All of the windows have like the frames like taped onto them, and the seals are broken. And like the bones of the house are good, but there's the listed price, which has come down twice. Another red flag, by the way. This is like seeing 2 people go up to her, and she, I don't know, gives them the bird as they walk away. And they're like, she won't give me the bird, this girl at the bar. The point is, it's not going to happen, but I was glad to go see it. I was glad to go learn a lesson. And then I came home to a screaming baby, and she'll continue to scream when we're done here. And I'll go upstairs and watch the World Series of Poker or Elf or something else. So there we are.
At some point during the program, the only baby I have left in my house, and that would be the dog, he was barking like a maniac, because he is, in fact, a maniac. So that did happen. Random Patriots memorabilia thing. So, my son is now 19. Obviously, happened to grow up in a pretty good era of Patriots football, and even though he's a Houston Texans fan. Yeah, randomly. I don't even know if he still likes them. He did when he was younger. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, there's some things that I bought a Patriots auction one time for a good cause. I bought a Deion Branch signed framed photo, beautiful photo by the lighthouse. It was his first game back after he returned, scores the touchdown. It's signed. It's over his bed. That's kind of cool. But randomly, his mother was at an auction one time and was like, "Oh, it's right around Christmas time. I'll get the B-Man something."
The B-Man.
She won a framed, in this incredible frame. It's huge. Game worn, game signed jersey from Sony Michel.
Oh.
Came home all excited. Sony Michel. I want it. And I was like, he likes Sony Michelle. I'm like, I don't think he does. But yeah, so that's down here. That's over there in the corner.
I got to
Sony
tell you, that
Michelle.
wasn't the worst player that crossed my mind. Man, I'll believe it at that. Not any at a personal animosity, and certainly no disrespect to Sony Michelle, but there are worse Patriots jerseys to regret, and some that the Patriots have offered. We'll buy them back for you and give you a return.
Yeah,
man, that's tough.
yeah, it's tough. It's
That
tough.
was-
Like you know the young kid. He's like probably calculating in his kid brain, like, oh, this guy, they win a couple Super Bowls. He goes to the Hall of Fame. This is gonna be worth something. You know, when I'm dead broke, I can sell the. You know, it's the frame is probably worth more than the jersey itself.
You know, as wild as we veer even further from the Patriots, the 4 months before they drafted him, I was at the Rose Bowl because it was in my third, second and a half, whatever season covering Penn State. They had made the Fiesta Bowl 2 days earlier. I had gone to the Rose Bowl 3 straight years. Oh, I can't make it this year. Oh, actually, I can. Why don't I meet my friends and we'll go? Because that was the playoff year. And it was Baker Mayfield-led Oklahoma versus Sony Michel and Nick Chubb and Georgia team.
Phenomenal game, yeah.
Outstanding game. And by the way, this tradition just started of like, this would be a cool bucket list item to go. I was making $25,000 in nowhere, Pennsylvania. Had just lost a girlfriend of almost 3 years. I'll just go to the Rose Bowl. This is what you do. I will be healed in the sunshine.
Sure.
Meanwhile, Christian McCaffrey curb stomps single-handedly Iowa, who was down like 31-0 at halftime. Anyway, the next couple of years were good. This was the best year. We were in the corner of the end zone where Sony Michel walked off one of the greatest Rose Bowl games ever. That was the most explosive I had ever seen him after that, which is so unfortunate because like that player was there that they drafted and still ran and was successful and scored a bunch of big touchdowns in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, but like you didn't draft him to then trade him 2 years later after that Super Bowl. Yeah. And it wasn't his fault. It's just tough. And
yeah, bone on bone. They were one of the teams that were like, yeah, that's fine. We'll get the 5 years out of them or 4 years out of them. I guess they did. I mean, they won a Super Bowl. So
yeah.
But
yeah, it's tough.
He was awesome. He was awesome in
the Super Bowl would be different. But there's only one of those, that jersey, which I hope for his sake is like in his house.
Yes.
That's where it belongs.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Do you remember he started like a clothing line
his
second season?
Yes, and randomly, and I don't know why I remember this about him, but like as our job, sometimes you monitor people's social media because you just never know. Antonio Brown being one of the great, like just go completely off the rails. He went off the rails the moment they released him here in New England, and it was like if you didn't follow it, because then he would post something and then delete it. But the internet lives forever. Sony Michel, once a week or once every couple weeks, and I finally just couldn't do it anymore. He would get his nose waxed, the inside of his nose.
Oh.
So the lady would come in with the little Q-tip with the wax on it. They put it in his nose, and then like you got to wait for it to harden. So the thing was sitting there, and then she go, and like tears be coming down his eyes and stuff. And I'm like, what? I mean, look, I got a lot of nose hair. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
you didn't have to tell us anything about that.
But I'm saying,
you could have lied to us.
Just use the trimmer. Just use the trimmer, man. That just seems so friggin' painful.
Those had to be like Noshan Moreno national anthem tears coming down, by the way, like a stream of them.
Yes.
Speaking of Georgia running backs.
I mean, think how painful that must have been.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either. It's fascinating.
You know what?
It was funny. If he was a good talker, I would have actually asked him about it. He was never. I never found him to be quite engaging. But like, I would look at him and be like, man, what does it do for you? Like, does it make you faster? Like, can you breathe better? Because you remove like 20 hairs out of your nose. I don't know.
2 things. Number one is that it has to be. I'll put it at 90% chance that was an ex-girlfriend or his mom making one comment once about the nose hair. You are not reliving that ever again. Maybe his current girlfriend or partner or whatever it is. I don't know. Number 2 is the next time it is raised in my fantasy baseball leagues. I don't play fantasy football, not because I don't like it, just been out of leagues, haven't got back in. We talk about a punishment. Waxing of the nose hair is absolutely coming up. That's what punishments are for. Amid probably a full day of other smaller things, but waxing of the nose hair, that is just not necessary.
It still kind of
Speaking
makes me cringe. Ow.
Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy thinking about this. I'm going to cry along with my infant daughter here. Thinking about, but look, man, if it helps a man breathe, power to him. All right, we got to go. A Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. A Happy Hanukkah. A Happy Holidays. We will be back next week talking about a seemingly much less exciting game against the Jets. Then the finale against the Dolphins. Sometime in that window, Patriots will probably win the division and then be out of the playoffs. I will be back with a solo mailbag episode. You just dropped one of those today, or you just did solo?
It's coming out in the morning. Yeah, did solo, but we're releasing it in the morning because we didn't want to step on this pod. And then I will have one at the end of the week, either Friday or Saturday, depending on time frames and schedules around the holidays and so forth and so on. But people do know that I have this affinity for like bad quarterbacks, so I'm kind of excited to see Brady Cook in person.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know.
You're a sicko. Maybe you can go visit him in Montana with Mac Jones and Tyler Huntley in a couple of years when he makes the Pro Bowl.
A couple more games, put up a few more numbers, everybody bails out. You never know.
You know who else would be up there? Speaking of bad quarterbacks that you love, I think his picture has to be somewhere in your house.
Jimmy?
Is he a Pro Bowler?
I don't know if Jimmy ever made the Pro Bowl.
Well, he's not invited to Montana. I will say this, though, real quick. We will have another 4-minute drill. I don't know if it's Christian Gonzalez or Craig Woodson or one other player I requested. But if you enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Rate, review, subscribe @_Andrew Callahan. You'll find all these videos. You'll find all of our other videos. We talk about 2026 offseason. We'll have a lot more coming up. Help us grow, and we could do more cool things like we did this year with Mike Giardi Mondays, even though he's bringing you things like Super Bowl comparisons and nose waxing. Which
this is why there are 3,330 people watching, and I think at least 25 of them came on because of the nose hair comments. They're right now giving us 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
Yeah. Look, I get that every podcast ever has said those same words and asked you the same thing. If you hung out with us now for an hour and 27 minutes, or you're in the car, or you're wherever you are, and you just did the same thing an hour and a half, just take another minute or two. It really mean a lot. It would be your Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever gift to us. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow down at Gillette.
Yes, indeed.
And we will see everybody else next Monday.
Sweet.
See you guys.